Driving, his head stands straight, okay? Drive. It came right to his kick the stock well, it right there his feet on his shoulder, and everything's already lined up.
Welcome to 2A for Today. Welcome to 2A for Today. 2A for Today is a program where we explore all things Second Amendment, all things that protect, threaten, and violate the Second Amendment rights of all Americans. My name is Zoe, and I'm the host of 2A for Today. Today, I'm at Champion Defense with Jay Harris. Champion Defense was founded by active duty veterans Jay and Phylicia Harris, with over 30 years of military service and firearm training experience. Jay, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Now, you are a storied military person. Tell me a little bit about your history and how you got involved in gun handling.
Okay, my background is obviously U.S. Army Ranger. I spent 25 years in the U.S. Army. My last job I held here in South Carolina was at Fort Jackson. I was a company commander at 213. During my transition to retirement, I worked at IMTLS. That's kind of like the Victory University, like they call it, where we teach senior leaders about TRADOC regulations with the soldiers, teaching them in basic training. Also had a background in help building the marksmanship program they currently use today and some of the field problems like the forge that they currently use today. Been shooting firearms since I was a young kid. My father was a homicide detective. I learned a lot from him. And as I went through the ranks in the Army, obviously being in the infantry, my background is firearms and teaching. So I decided when I retired to do my two loves, teaching and firearms, and start a business. So don't feel like I'm at work.
Outstanding. Now, part of the 2A for Today's program focuses on what we call the modern militiaman. The 2A for Today modern militiaman is someone who has taken their duty to take care of their neighbors seriously. Because even the Bible says you should love your neighbor as you love yourself, right? And so if you're going to defend yourself, you should be willing to defend your neighbors and their families, right? And so there are some issues, though. One of the issues is a lot of people are getting weapons. We've had, I think, the most purchases of weapons in a year, I think maybe, last year, with what happened with Antifa, BLM, things on the streets, people getting let out of prison, people have gone and bought firearms. But a lot of them think that they know how to use them just because they've seen them shot on TV. Right. And so training is important. There was even some people that were using Sig weapons recently. I'm talking about professionals. The gun misfired on them, and they sued Sig, and obviously there was some mishandling there. They investigated and they found out that it was actually poor handling by people who are professionals. So we stress how important it is to be trained. Can you speak to that a little bit too? What happened with that Sig incident? I don't know.
Obviously, Sig is a great company. I actually carry Sig as well. It's one of my favorite platforms to carry. I'm not currently carrying on me right now. I got my Sig around the time when they had the mandatory recall. They did do a voluntary upgrade. I took advantage of that, but I can't really tell, the technical side of Sig because I'm not the manufacturer, but I know I've used Sigs. I've never had a problem with a Sig. So I can, say it could be both, operator error and some technical difficulties. I think Sig done their part as far as doing the recall and getting it fixed. And I think a lot of, users may have to do their part as far as make sure they have the right training, make sure they have the right holster, and the kind of things we stress on in our class. Because I get students all the time that they may have a great gun, but not a great holster, or vice versa. And no matter what you're doing, training is going to be everything, and to include coming out of the holster. I know one of the recent ones I seen on Sig, the officer, one of the young ladies, she had her firearm in the holster into her purse, and the gun went off. So it's a lot of error with carrying a firearm in your purse. You're going to have a firearm. The safety is one, you as a user, two, that holster you're carrying in, and it's understanding that. So I'm not to say who's at fault in all these different incidents, but I can definitely say I can believe it's some operator error on the other side.
The more you sell too, the more opportunities there are for those types of errors. They sell a lot.
Exactly. Yeah, they sell thousands of guns. It's hard as a gun to get right now.
Yeah. So now, with that said, there are some specific things that you train your students. Talk to me a little bit about some of the things that you've seen that people come in. I think we talked before we even came on the air. We talked about people at the range that they just look like they know what they're doing. They act like they know what they're doing, and then you find out they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, Tell me a little bit about like what you have seen in your experience with new owners and things that they should be careful of and look out for, you know?
Right. A lot of things we see in new owners and learning firearms, it's like anything, it's a lot of pride. You know, some people think they don't need training, especially in the law enforcement community or military community. They feel they carry a gun, they've been around guns, they don't need any training. And they don't understand the little nuances that go on with, you know, pulling out of your holster, especially prior to August 15th, before we go into open carry state, concealed carry state. A lot of people don't take things in consideration when they got to draw their firearm from a concealed manner and the different safety aspects they have to do, or they just simply try to cut back and call, say, with a holster or something like that. I don't need a holster, I'm gonna put it in my pocket. Different things we hear every day here in the shop. And then those bad habits transition over into the range. So they're not used to coming out of a holster and shooting. So that's where you see a lot of issues, because most indoor ranges don't allow you to shoot from a holster. You have to shoot from a static position and lay your firearm on the table. But in reality, in practical use, we're not laying our guns on a table or carrying them by our hands every day. They have to be in a holster. So if you're not training, and we like to use an Army train as you fight, if you're not training to come out of that holster and understanding if you hit your finger on the trigger or trying to put it away, when you actually try to do it in real operation or an emergency situation, that's when you're gonna have an injury. So I think that's a big reason we see these injuries with people going in and out of the holster, because they're not training that way. Unfortunately, there are ranges that we can use that on, like the one we use at Penteal, where you can actually practice coming out of the holster and things like that, versus the indoor range facilities where you have restrictions that don't allow you to get those repetitions in.
Outstanding. Yeah, that's really important. Penteal, as a matter of fact, we're going to be doing in a gun safety class there with some Turning Point guys.
Yes.
And you're going to be leading that class.
Yes.
So I look forward to seeing you in action, you know, teaching the young guys. And myself, you know, my son, obviously, too. We need training, too. So I do have a couple of questions, though, about, you know, going forward, as we are, you know, obviously, we got a lot of people with new weapons. And we're promoting the idea of the modern militiaman. And so it's an important feature for people to know how to like talk to police, what they should do. Do you guys teach your students things of that nature too, like post-incident, how they should behave?
Yes. We in our CWP course and all our courses, first off, all our courses start from the ground up. We teach no matter what course you come in, no matter what level you tell me you're at, we start at the basic level to get everybody on the same playing field. And part of that, first, especially with the carry courses, we talk about mindset, having the proper mindset and attitude and understanding responsibilities being a gun owner, not only in your home, but when you have that firearm outside your home, because the responsibility broadens. You know, you have to worry about the public, you know, how you're securing that firearm. We go over retention in your firearm, you know, when you carry it in your holster, and then the aftermath. One of the other things we do during the class, we talk about liability insurance. You know, we partner with the USCCA as far as offering insurance to our clients, so they know that there are some liabilities, you know, if you have to deploy your firearm in public, you know, so you might have to answer to the law for that. So having that insurance kind of help take care of the legality portion of it, and, you know, all those things. But we mention that because some people think they have an incident with their firearm, they can go home and sleep that night. You may spend some nights in jail, you may lose your firearm. It's a lot to think about. Then if you're in jail, who's going to pay the bills? So we like to offer that liability, but furthermore, just get them to understand that there are some consequences, but not to fear using your firearms. Just understand you can have help. So having that thought process out, because it's split second. You know, attackers are planning to attack you, and the only thing you have on your time is speed and accuracy. So we like to offer that as well. But it goes a lot deeper than just carrying your gun that we go over in the class. And then as far as you mentioned, post, as far as when the cops come up, we teach them how to have your firearm. Don't have your firearm out, put it away, so the cops know who you are. Make sure you identify yourself in that 911 call, so they know when they get on scene that you are the one that were being attacked, you're not the attacker, and have that gun put away and secured and not out and open, and have your identification ready for the police officer. One of our 2A for today modern militiamen, John Hurley, he had actually put down a cop killer, you know, and when he went to disarm the perp that he had just taken down, he neutralized him. He had the rifle in his hand when the police showed up, and he got shot. Yeah, definitely want to unload that rifle, put it away from you, and be standing far away. As long as you already secured the scene, you feel you're safe, and you can actually get away from that person. So when the cops come, you're not mistaken for that attacker, because that's just a bad way.
Yeah, that's awful. Now, you guys have been doing this for, how long have you been here at this location?
This location I started building the store up in November. My wife, myself, and a friend, CD London, we built it from the ground up. Started in November. I actually retired in November, and I came here and started slapping paint and wood and cutting stuff up. We actually opened the store up in April of this year. The business started last January while I was teaching, and for the blessings from Panteo to let us start teaching out there, but we were actually setting up chairs on the range and stuff, and got kind of hot, and then cold in the winter, so I knew I wanted to open up an actual classroom to have my students at, and then our actual gun shop for a showroom and things like that. So April we started, and we've been going at it ever since.
Outstanding. Now, do you guys carry a lot of stock, or are you ship direct, or how do you guys operate?
Both. We carry stock. The model of the business is we want to cater to our students, all the training we do. We do several different classes, from long range classes to a youth firearm course. So everything we offer for our classes we like to sell here to include focus on self-defense stuff. So we sell the proper holsters, we sell body armor, bulletproof backpacks, all the ammunition we need, and a selection of pistols. So when our students are here, they have something where they can go and talk to us, and we can fit them for the right firearm, whether it be a rifle, a bow action, or a pistol, or even a .22 for their kids. Is right here. If we don't have it in our store, we have several distributors, and I'm a direct dealer for several different manufacturers where I can order it, and it's a 2-day turnaround. Sometimes maybe a week, depending on what it is. But most products we have over 45,000 products we can actually get in anytime we want.
Outstanding. I'm so thankful for what you're doing, bro.
Thank you.
Truly, our community needs to be secure. And we are insecure because we've been relying on people who it's not their job description. The Bible tells us that we are supposed to love one another as we love ourselves, right?
Right.
And the Supreme Court has said multiple times that police officers have no obligation to protect anyone not in their custody. So we're supposed to be protecting one another.
Right.
And so you training people, preparing people, and helping us as a community to be more secure, man, is priceless.
No, thank you.
Thank you. But thank you for being on the show today, brother. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by.
Now that concludes our program for today. But again, in the coming weeks and months, 2A for Today will be talking to experts, scholars, trainers, and all forms of gun right activists and Second Amendment proponents to answer the many questions that we all have and unpack the various laws and trespasses of our rights that have already been enacted and those that are on the horizon. Again, if the Second Amendment's important to you, make sure to subscribe to the New American Magazine and get on the top daily headline mailing list so you get an email alert anytime we upload a video or stream a live event. And share these videos with your family and friends who feel the same, or those that are riding the fence between liberty and tyranny who need a little more convincing. You've been watching 2A for Today. My name is Zoe. You can post your comments or questions, and we'll try to address as many as we can, as fast as we can, in the coming weeks and months. Thank you for watching 2A for Today. Conversations that matter. The establishment media is doing everything possible to make sure you don't hear some of the most important videos out there on medicine, science, politics, business, media, and so much more. That's why it's so important that you check out the New Americans show, Conversations That Matter with Alex Newman, which tackles all these topics and more.